And okay, from what I'm understanding, it's these entity attachments, specifically Guru 5, and another one called Rosie or Barbara the Roach Queen. Two very, in particular, very sadistic entities that want me to stay stuck to this curse. With that being said, they like to set me up to go at odds with other entities, other spirits in the spirit realm, to cause problems so that they could feed. And Michael O'Terrence's higher self keeps them in existence. I don't know if it has something to do with his consciousness. I don't know if they come out of his consciousness or not. But anyways, I really need to get rid of these monitoring spirits. And I've been trying to figure out, mull over all day, actually for the past couple of weeks, how to get rid of them. And one day when I got dead serious about it, I was getting attacked like a motherfucker. I was constantly having shit pulled from out of my fucking astral head and all of that, harassed, harried in the astral realm. I had stuff coming from out of the walls. I know that sounds funny. Picking on me, picking at me, grabbing bits and parts of my consciousness, pulling it apart, tearing it apart. The more I got serious about getting rid of these things. So anyways, I need a foolproof way of how to get rid of these monitoring spirits, because that's specifically what they are monitoring spirits. Thank you. Last motherfucking shit, and enough is enough, man. I got to get rid of this shit, and I got to get it off of me. The human entity that likes to parade around is Archangel Michael, Palinumbre, whose energy signature is like a murky, like red. He needs to be taken out of the spirit world. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Energy signature is key. Just removed from the back of my consciousness my connection to my timelines. And he's doing it to keep me from being able to get back to, into my body in the original timeline in which I lost. Really, it's the connection to my higher and highest self. This is a very malicious ass motherfucking entity. He took it and he destroyed it. These things are threatening me right now for talking about him. And that connection is very crucial to my identity. This is what I'm talking about. I'm dealing with some motherfucking bullies. And they're claiming that Michael O'Terrence, higher self, orchestrated this and set this up. These things play chess, not checkers, and they're doing everything in their power to cut me from my spiritual help, my spiritual protection. And I take great issue with that. They're doing everything that they can to keep me from being able to rebuild myself. Like earlier, they did something. They were writing books to keep me from being able, to use frequency to heal myself. And, I can't be dealing with this motherfucking shit. I'm already in fucking poverty. I'm facing homelessness. Every time I look around, these things like Palinumbre and Hecate try to block my blessings as much as they can, even going so far as to become my higher selves and highest selves. That's the case with Hecate. And, I need spiritual, protection, spiritual help, man, because I'm being overwhelmed by very legitimate, evil-ass motherfucking entities that's powerful. Hecate, from what I understand, is in the mind. She's a parasite, likes to, that's really what she is, attached to people's consciousnesses of myself, going back to the timeline where I lost my body and my timeline on August 22nd, 2022. And, I worked a little bit tonight, and, during that, I have no fucking reprieve. I had to fight these motherfucking things, even while having work done. And, it's very fucking frustrating dealing with these psychopathic ass entities. So, I really need a lot of spiritual help and assistance dealing with these things. They don't like for me to expose them, but they've been getting down, lately to the crucial parts of me that are designed to connect me to my spirit guides, my angelic team, my higher selves, my highest self, who I truly am. And that's extremely frustrating to say the least. And, I'm just at a standstill as to what to do. These things are fucking evil. Sorry to be doing this while I'm on the toilet, but I had a horrible nightmare early this morning. It basically involved Guru 5. And I saw the Hertzes in the astral plane that could allow me to be able to kill this motherfucker. It's him and the other sadistic monitoring spirit that David and Barbara Raina sent on me a long time ago, after my body got stolen and I got taken out of my August 22nd, 2022 timeline. So I'm trying to, what I'm about to tell you is designed to avert this from potentially happening. These things like to play chess, not checkers. And with that being said, where these things play chess, not checkers. And like what they like to do is when I'm about to talk about something, they'll say things like, Toda, yeah, we're going to run this past Barbara and David Raina. We're going to talk to them about that. These things are very sophisticated. They're highly sophisticated. They're not like your average entity that likes to fuck with people. These things are extremely sadistic. They're heavily evil. They're pure fucking evil. Roach attachments, roach spirits are very, very evil. And they like to take part in making their target extremely miserable and, trying to do whatever they can possible to destroy their target, and to keep their victim, from talking about them and seeking out spiritual help and abetment. That's why they like to get into people's consciousnesses and fuck it up so that you cannot get any sort of spiritual help. To confuse you as much as they can, to throw you off. Right now, one of them is grabbing at the top of my head, fucking with it, trying to grab vital parts of my consciousness off so that they can fuck with it. They're coming through the wall. From what I'm seeing, from what I understand, Guru 5 is attached to my energy body. Vital parts of it. At one point, he was attached to my timelines, and then it changed to him being attached to him and another one called Rosie the Roach Queen are just like all throughout. They're all throughout. So this isn't, like a simple issue of... Anyways, I had a terrible nightmare early this morning. I was in the astral plane. I literally astral projected, which in this situation, it's not hard to do. These things like to get you to the point of death. In the astral plane, I look terrible. I don't even have my soul consciousness anymore. They divested me of that. I know I don't look like that because I'm in a physical body, a physical vessel, but trust me, they got me down to that point. With that being said, they have me in the body of a palette numbre. The one that looks like Archangel Michael. I can hear them whispering to each other right now. Shh, shh, shh. I'm done just keeping this to myself and trying to resolve this on my own. It's going to take other people to help me out and all of that. But anyways, I was in the astral plane. They like to, just like they've done with my parents and all, they like to get you to your consciousness to a point where you're astral projecting, by filling it up and all of that with roach attachments, where your consciousness jumps in to your astral body, and then from there they can take you and get you. Last night I was in the astral plane. well, early this morning, right before I woke up, I was in the astral plane, and I remember being influenced by one of these things to attack a guy. It was two people. There was a dark haired lady and there was a guy with orange red hair. I think in the past, under David Rayner's influence, he had entity attachment that had his roach attachments at the time that influenced me to woke people. I think this might have been one of his victims. And so they were looking for, I believe it was the plant sage, specific sage I've been able to find around here specifically that's designed to, I feel these things going into my mind right now as I talk, that's designed to ward off evil spirits. That's not going to work with these things like with Guru 5 and Rosie the Roach Queen. You know, from what I understand, from what I was told by my spirit guides, she derives from, like, they took my previous former higher self and put her in the roach realm and made her sign a contract to allow a roach version of herself to exist. So with that being said, with that being said, they were consulting me and they were asking me, you know, for information on those various plans. And with that being said, you know, I told them point blank that I didn't want to help them at the time. You know, I was obstinate, stubborn about something because they stole something from me. It was very significant work. I forgot exactly what it was. Something pertaining to a book or something. They stole it from me, so I didn't want to help them out. So then from there, I got on the road. I was walking down Crenshaw Boulevard in the astral plane. So I saw Guru 5 trying his best to harass me. Now, I'm going to tell you something. The thing about Roach Spirits is that the way they catch you off guard. In the beginning, at least for me, David Rayner told them to be funny, to ingratiate themselves with me, to be cordial, to be nice, because that's how, you know, for what they were told, they could endear themselves to me. And these things were actually very funny, and they posed as and acted as my friends for a while. That's why it was personally so hard for me to be able to get rid of them. I didn't sense at the time that they were demonic because in many instances they would look out for me. But now, you know, like I knew back then, they put entity attachments to make that happen. And not just that, they're trying to fuck with my consciousness right now and get me to put out something that, you know, I shouldn't be, you know, put out some people who ain't guilty or anything. They're trying to get me to fuck somebody up. That's one thing about they're fucking with my consciousness right now as we talk. So anyways, to make a long story short, they were told to endear themselves to me. They would tell me things usually because they would connect to my higher selves. They had fucked with my, you know, my consciousness like that back then, that were going to happen and give me warnings on things, give me a heads up on things. And they truly acted like they were my friends. And, you know, they would even call themselves looking out for me if something bad happened, like, you know, the rape situation, which, you know, I'm now questioning in the back of my head, that occurred at that shelter at the manor a while back. I'm now questioning that because, you know, like I saw in transitional housing one day, when you start to try to sever and cut these things off, they get extremely upset. They don't like to not be fed. But even before I started cutting them off, I know I'm jumping from one thing to the next. I'm extremely traumatized right now, to say the least, because this is a very dangerous situation. It's extremely scary. Um, these things. I remember one time when I started getting serious about cutting them off at the shelter. They orchestrated. One of them tried to get me set up to fight. Some people who had jumped me one time. And it's funny too, because one of the things they were told by David and Barbara Rayner was to not allow me to get a van. These monitoring spirits are like fucking jailers, literally. They're told what to do by these two people who they have some type of contract with, along with Rosie. She has a contract, I think, with He-Kate or something in the original timeline, in which I lost on August 22nd, 2022. She also made an agreement with them. There's a book for it out there in the astral plane, I believe, to contract with them to, sell me, sell my soul to them, sell me and my dad's soul. And palette number in both forms, the Archangel Michael form as well as the Roach attachment form, have really been viciously after me and my dad. They've been putting entity attachments designed to keep us in hell realms and all of that. And I've seen, my dad from numerous timelines, being subjected to like violent abuse and being subjected to like hell realms by these two entities, man. I'm dealing with some seriously evil fucking very clever shit, that's well beyond my pay grade to be able to deal with. It's a case of like being way in too deep. So anyways, I saw Guru 5 a while back. I did an article about him when I talked about the Roach realm and freeing people from his realm. He would set people up to get dinner, and next thing you know, they were the dinner and being fed on by roaches. And so I freed people from his realm. So I saw him flying around, and I felt a strong energy of evil. Oh, getting back to that couple, the guy with the red hair, I woke them in the astral plane. But then I went ahead and I took it off. And I apologized, and I started, trying to preach to the guy. He started getting a crush on me and some shit like that. How to get rid of these things. And frequency is key. There's different frequencies you can use to get rid of them. Barbara and David Rain and Michael Terrence, they're going to try to, like they did with me, disable me or other people from being able to use it. But I believe there's definitely ways around it. They cannot control you forever. And I'm going to share with y'all some of the frequencies in which I've learned to be able to use against them. So with that being said, after the interaction with the red-haired guy, I was walking down Crenshaw Boulevard. So as I was walking down Crenshaw Boulevard, I saw not Pilot Number 8. He's going by Pilot Fun Friday or some silly shit right now. But it's Guru 5. Guru 5, and he was flying all around. I saw where he was attached last night, but these things, like I say, they like to play games with people. Like they'll transfer their consciousness, their soul energy and all of that, turn like a memory that you got to be able to access them, into like an entity attachment and all that shit. They do very sophisticated, complicated shit like that. Man, these things fucking with my ass royally now. So I saw Guru 5 flying around, big, ugly, large ass motherfucking cockroach. So as this motherfucker was flying around, I was being given downloads in the astral plane on how to defeat him. They were showing me frequencies. And I know 3534 tranquilizes them. 3534 hertz frequency, it tranquilizes them. 945 hertz frequency turns them into pallets or living furniture. There's another frequency that I know that can be used to, I know 3545 is the best frequency to use on these things. So anyways, I was traveling down Crenshaw Boulevard, and so I happened, I was getting threatened by Guru 5 for trying to get rid of him. I'm going to talk about these monitoring spirits right now and how they're the driving force behind influencing all of this shit to fucking happen, right now. With that being said, I entered into a shop called Mackenzie's, which was right next to Delshamps in the astral plane. I was thinking about going to the store, but then I, decided to venture into Mackenzie, the donut shop, for protection, primarily. So when I went in there, Guru 5, from what I recall, my memory's getting split because how bad these things fuck with my consciousness. Jesus is very clear in John chapter 4. There are two spheres of influence, two places where it needs to take place. One is public, the other is private. They're not exclusive of each other. I remember he was in there and he transformed into a human and he started making threats. And started threatening me for exposing them. These things don't like to be exposed. And so, with that being said, I stayed in there and I felt extremely threatened, just to say the least. I felt very, very threatened. And I saw some of these things, plans for me. And I didn't like it. I really didn't like what they have coming up on the horizon. They were planning on doing something to my fucking consciousness that would totally fuck things up, fuck me up. And what I saw was extremely scary, to say the least. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about these monitoring spirits. I'm now realizing that these monitoring spirits are the driving force behind everything. Barbara and David Rayner, to some degree, run the show. But it's the roach attachments that they have in their head. This is the same thing with the other guy that they've been contracted with, Michael O'Terrence. That's the driving force behind why I'm still facing all of these evil and vicious attacks. These monitoring spirits, I don't know if they're previous victims or not, like to be fed by making people miserable and driving them crazy and fucking with their head, as well as killing them in their sleep. That's a major modus operandi of Barbara and David Rayner, is to kill people in their sleep. Barbara and David Rayner have an entire roach realm that comes from the demonic roach realm that they deal with in their heads. From my experience, from my past experience, they will have, and they've told me this to the roach attachments, the roach spirits, that they will have people call you at very significant times to fuck with your head and to release energies through the phone that's designed to fuck up your head. And that's scary, to say the least. I believe that they got these peoples, because from what I've experienced, they tell people what to do. These roach monitoring spirits, so that they can be fed. They're not like average spirits that people create. They're spirits that come from the spirit realm who they've done contracted with. They tell these motherfuckers what to do at vital times and then dispatch them. And that's extremely scary. Very, very scary. You know, I'm learning not to trust what these things say now, especially at this very vital juncture. But from my past experience, they'll tell people to dispatch entities on you. I've heard them, like beckoning children, say to the Rainers in the astral plane, hey, Raven just broke away from such and such a entity attachment, you know, as part of the curse. And then they'll say, we need to be fed. We need to be fed, like little fucking kids. That's how they talk. You know, when you hear these things talk, with the exception of Guru 5, he has a more sophisticated voice. They sound like little kids, and that's what makes them so endearing. They make, you know, one of them sound like wind chimes. The other one sounds like a swinging set. You know, that's the thing that kills me about them. They make you laugh at them. They're funny. And so they'll tell these people, these three people, hey, Raven just broke away from such and such entity attachment. We need to be fed. We need to be fed. And next thing I know, like in one instance, Michael O'Terrence's higher self, who has palette numbre in his consciousness, all of his higher, including all the way up to his higher self, they'll come and then they'll try to attack you. He'll, like in the case of Michael O'Terrence, he put in more entity attachments in crucial parts of my consciousness that was designed to keep me stuck. From what I understand, they put a curse on me that's designed to keep me stuck in this curse and allow me to never be able to escape. So with that being said, you know, I've been trying my hardest on my own to free myself from this curse. This is not a simple curse. This is an extremely complex curse that's over most, it's over most witches, it's over most fucking shamans' pay grades, what I'm dealing with. The biggest thing is not to interact or talk with them in the beginning at all. I had a woman who she looked very familiar. She was from the PCH, who at the start of this curse, going back to last year in June, was warning me, do not talk to them, do not talk to these spirits. But them motherfuckers are so endearing that it's so easy to get tripped up. You don't see the danger because these things come off as being very honest and upfront with you and, you know, kind of like lovable. They don't come off as evil spirits, regular evil spirits, and that's the thing that gets you. They're funny. They make me laugh, and they're entertaining. And so, you know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's a fucked up situation. It's a very fucked up situation. So with that being said, you know, I feel like, you know, I've been fucking, you know, I feel like I've been fucking, you know, stabbed in the fucking, you know, backstab, fucking stabbed in the fucking, you know, just stabbed in the heart, you know, because it hurts. It hurts for them to be like, to, you know, now they're trying to tear at my fucking heart chakra right now as I talk. But this is an utterly and completely evil curse. It's gotten down to the fucking bone. Pallid numbre has been going into my consciousness as well as my energy body. The consciousness looks like a birthday cake, by the way. That's why they say happy birthday, and that's why it's shaped that way. And it's steadily, now they're removing that. And it's steadily trying to replace my higher and highest selves. And that's very scary. That's extremely motherfucking scary. On a couple of occasions, I've heard my higher and highest selves sounding like pallid numbre, both versions. My higher and highest selves. Pallid numbre, this is why I'm wondering if these are really autonomous beings. I think he might be a soul piece from that preacher that I met in the astral plane that time in my consciousness, because they I don't know. Well, because they inject these things into your consciousness so they can put entity attachments. But anyways, I don't know if he's an aspect of that preacher. There was a preacher who lived during the 1970s who died. And they've pretty much turned him into an entity attachment in the astral plane, erased his memories and everything. That's how fucking evil this curse is. They erase your memories, everything, so you have no connection to ancestors. You don't remember shit once you hit the astral plane. I mean, these motherfuckers did something to me last night where they had me forget my spirit guides damn near and how to contact them. That was extremely motherfucking scary. With that being said, they've turned, like they did my previous higher self, they've turned my higher selves, they've created entity attachments out of them because they've been able to get access to them and to points of consciousness that represents them. And that's extremely, as I said before, scary to say the least. These dark evil motherfuckers then unloads these motherfuckers on you, these entity attachments, and try to confuse you so you don't know which is which. I've seen a couple of my higher selves end up looking like fucking bugs, like giant fucking slugs and shit in the astral plane because of these motherfuckers in different timelines. It's scary. Rosie from that original timeline has decided to make me a sacrifice. to palate numbre so I can never get back in my body. She's tried to ensure that by throwing the entity attachments of my ancestors out of her head and replacing them with roach attachments of her family, as well as of her own ancestors. This is going beyond just like simple fucking feeding. These motherfuckers got an orchestrated plot against me that's not only designed to take me fucking out in the physical, but it's designed to keep me stuck. And keep me stuck in hell realms for all eternity, along with, my father. From what I understand, my father's a prized possession to palate numbre. My poor dad, he's a very, very nice man. I remember, he used to work. When he was working, I remember he had stopped and talked with a homeless man while me and my brothers were in the car. He's a cop, but he was a very nice one, very, very down to earth. My dad don't deserve that. He used to go through a lot of abuse because this is how complex this curse is. These things will go. They not only go through timelines, but they can go back in time and fuck with you. And they fucked with my dad's consciousness to the point where my dad ended up getting stuck in fucking kindergarten again. That's how evil and sinister this motherfucking curse is. With that being said, they plan on keeping me and my father, and I saw my poor mother too running but naked from palate numbre, the roach attachment, stuck in hell realms for all eternity. Again, I can't decide whether it's these things that are the commanding, controlling force, because like I said before, I was told that they contracted out with, they made a contract with the roach realm in the astral plane to exchange sacrifices of usually pure-hearted people, good people, not evil motherfuckers like I used to go for the most part, in exchange for those people's spiritual powers and abilities. And the roach attachments in their hair heavily protects them. I'm thinking that you have to create roach attachments yourself to be able to defend against these motherfuckers. I don't plan on doing that shit. I want everything to be the fucking same. With that being said, as I tell my poor spirit guys, they me, I'm them. I don't want to let them go. And I'm not. They even tried to make sacrifices of my higher and higher selves in exchange for money that they've held from me. That's how fucking trippy, that's how fucked up this curse is.